No one saw the storm as a prophecy, not at first. But when the wind howled across the Red Sea and lightning clawed the sky, the night Makeda was born, the elders took notice. In the palace temple, where incense curled like smoke from ancient fires, the high priest whispered to her mother, "This child will carry the voice of gods and the weight of empires." Born sometime in the 10th century BCE in the kingdom of Saba, straddling modern-day Ethiopia and Yemen, Makeda arrived in a world teeming with mystery, power, and trade. It was a place where spices were currency, and caravans carried not just goods, but secrets between kingdoms. Makeda was not born into a calm reign. Her father, King Angabo, a figure shrouded in legend, died in battle while she was still an infant. Some sources say he was betrayed by a rival clan. Others say he fell defending Saba from foreign invaders. In his absence, factions threatened to fracture the kingdom. Civil unrest rippled through the highlands, and rebellion brewed in the desert. But Makeda's mother, unnamed in most records but said to be a priestess and wise woman, protected the throne as regent. She raised Makeda not just as a royal daughter but as a warrior in mind and spirit. Tutors trained her in statecraft, languages, and astronomy. Priests taught her the sacred laws, myths, and philosophies of her people. And from her mother, she learned strategy, the kind used not in battlefields, but in council chambers and crowded marketplaces. When Makeda was just a teenager, an invading army from the north attempted to seize Saba. The regency fractured, nobles fled, advisors doubted, but Makeda didn't. In a story passed down through the Queen Makeda, she rallied the remaining clans, forged alliances with southern tribes, and took command of her people's defense. At the decisive battle near Lake Tana, she led from the front, mounted on horseback, sword in hand. The invaders never returned. By the time the dust settled, the people no longer called her princess. They called her Negesta, queen. Makeda's rule transformed Saba. She inherited a kingdom caught between rival empires but turned it into a nexus of trade, faith, and diplomacy. Saba's reach extended across the Red Sea to southern Arabia and deep into the African continent. Her ports brimmed with goods, ivory, gold, spices, obsidian, and frankincense. Her merchants traveled as far as India and the Mediterranean, bringing back not just wealth but ideas. But Makeda was more than a steward of prosperity. She was a visionary. She rebuilt cities, constructed irrigation systems that fed entire regions, and sponsored temples dedicated to both local deities and the growing monotheistic movements in the region. Her court became a place where astronomers, philosophers, and healers gathered. She ruled through justice, not terror, though she was not above showing strength when needed. Her advisors, records suggest, came from diverse backgrounds: Africans, Arabs, even travelers from Mesopotamia and beyond. She believed wisdom was not bound by borders, and this philosophy became the foundation of her legacy. Yet despite her achievements, Makeda was restless. Stories had reached her court about a king in Jerusalem, a man of unimaginable wisdom, a ruler who wrote proverbs, solved disputes with riddles, and commanded a vast kingdom with intellect alone. His name, Solomon. Makeda was intrigued, not in romance but in rivalry. She had bested warriors, outmaneuvered rival kings. Could she match wits with the man said to be the wisest in the world? She decided to find out. The voyage to Jerusalem was nothing short of monumental. Makeda's caravan stretched for miles, hundreds of camels bearing spices, gold, frankincense, ebony, and precious stones. Her entourage included diplomats, scholars, guards, and artisans. She did not travel as a guest. She arrived as an equal. When she entered Solomon's court, she wore a crown of red gold and a robe woven with symbols of the sun and moon. Every detail was deliberate, a message that the Queen of Sheba was not there to be dazzled. She was there to be measured. According to the Hebrew Bible, 1 Kings 10, she came to test Solomon with hard questions. These weren't trivial riddles. They were tests of philosophy, morality, theology, and statecraft. The Jewish Talmud expands on these exchanges, hinting at deep debates over the nature of justice, fate, and divine law. The Queen Makeda offers a richer account. It describes Makeda and Solomon engaged in nights-long dialogues, neither backing down. Solomon was intrigued by her depth. Makeda, though impressed, held her ground. She was not there to be charmed. Yet something changed. One version of the story says that before she left, Solomon invited her to a feast. He swore not to touch her as long as she took nothing from his palace. That night, unable to sleep, she reached for a glass of water. Solomon confronted her. "You have broken your oath," he said. "Now I am free from mine." What followed was a union. Whether from affection, fate, or politics, no one can say. What we know is that when Makeda returned to Saba, she was not alone. She carried with her a child. Makeda gave birth to a son, Ebna al-Hakim, later known as Menelik I. She raised him in the Shaban court, instilling in him both African strength and Hebrew wisdom. She did not tell him who his father was until he came of age. When Menelik asked to meet Solomon, she allowed it. It was not just a son meeting a father, it was the bridge between two worlds. In Jerusalem, Solomon embraced him. He offered him a princely title and a place at court. But Menelik, proud and independent like his mother, declined to stay. "My land calls me," he said. "I was born to rule where I was raised." As he prepared to return, Solomon sent blessings and more. According to Ethiopian legend, Solomon gave him sacred relics and priests. Some say the Ark of the Covenant itself was brought to Ethiopia, either given willingly or taken in secret by Menelik and the priests who believed its destiny belonged in Africa. When Menelik returned, Makeda passed the throne to him and stepped back from rule. She had forged the foundation of an empire. Her son would build on it. The Solomonic Dynasty, said to descend from this union, would rule Ethiopia for nearly 3,000 years. From Menelik I to Emperor Haile Selassie, Ethiopian kings claimed their legitimacy through Makeda, Queen of Sheba. Makeda ruled for several more years after Menelik's return, but gradually withdrew from court life. She retired to a palace near the Semien Mountains, where she spent her days in study and prayer. Her final years were quiet but not forgotten. Pilgrims came to seek wisdom. Scribes recorded her teachings. Her presence still commanded awe. Then one night, she vanished. The sky that night echoed the one she was born under. Thunder cracked. A blood-red moon hung in the sky. Her servants found her chambers empty. No signs of struggle, no trace of escape. Only a ring left on her throne, the same ring Solomon had given her. Some say she died in solitude, buried in a secret tomb in northern Ethiopia. Others say she walked into the desert and never returned. And a few, especially the priests of Axum, believe she ascended, her body taken by divine forces, her spirit bound to the ark her son had brought home. Makeda's story has never stopped evolving. In Ethiopia, she is not myth, she is memory. Her name appears in chronicles, liturgy, folklore, and royal lineage. Her face appears in ancient murals and illuminated manuscripts. Churches in Lalibela whisper her story through stone. In Yemen, ruins believed to be connected to her reign stand among the sands. In Jerusalem, her visit is recorded in scripture. And in the Rastafari movement, she is a sacred mother figure. Through her came the divine bloodline of Emperor Haile Selassie. But history is still catching up. In 2015, a team of archaeologists excavating near Lake Tana uncovered ruins older than expected. Walls carved with Sabaean symbols, a ceremonial basin, and beneath it, a tablet with a name inscribed again and again, Makeda. The symbols suggest it may have marked her final resting place, but the chamber it guarded was sealed, with no way to open it, at least not yet. Queen Makeda's name echoes across 3 continents. She was a bridge between worlds, Africa and the Middle East, myth and memory, power and grace. Her story gave rise to an empire, inspired faith, and carved her name into the bones of history. But here's what no one expected. She might not be finished. What lies beneath that stone tablet? Why was her name repeated with such precision? And what secrets might rise if the tomb is opened? Makeda was never just a queen. She was a storm, and some storms don't fade. Curious what's behind the sealed chamber? Want to follow the trail of the ark? Then ask yourself, what if the Queen of Sheba never left? Don't forget to like and subscribe.